Hey, this is going to be a Smackdown review for the 17th of April, and I thought this was a really bad show. I thought this was kind of a bewildering show. I thought Smackdown had got itself back on track last week, but clearly it has not. The reason I say it's bewildering is there was actually some good wrestling on this show, like, well, okay to good wrestling, but the whole show did not nearly equal the sum of its parts. This show just felt wrong. Well, basically the reason is, does everyone here remember the draft that took place on Monday? You know, the draft where MVP moved to Raw, Big Show moved to Raw, Triple H moved to Raw, Matt Hardy moved to Raw. The draft where SmackDown got lots of new, exciting superstars like Chris Jericho, CM Punk, Rey Mysterio. Yeah. Well, the reason I ask you is because the WWE didn't appear to remember that when they made this episode. This episode had Triple H on it, it had Big Show on it, it had Matt Hardy on it, it had whoever the other guy I mentioned was, he was on it too. It didn't have Chris Jericho, it didn't have CM Punk, it didn't have Rey Mysterio. Yeah, so basically the draft, which is, in my view, transformed SmackDown for the better, right? The WWE clearly doesn't really care all that much about SmackDown. They're not putting any of their four main guys as they see it on it. But for me, having people like CM Punk and Chris Jericho, these are people who can lose to mid-carders and make it realistic. Lose to people like Shelton Benjamin, say, and then beat main eventers, like even The Undertaker or someone like that. Beat someone big. And it doesn't seem ridiculous either way. No longer do we have people like Triple H on SmackDown that everyone is just jobbing to constantly. When you're fighting Triple H, you're jobbing to him. That's it. Now we've got competitive wrestlers. I mean, SmackDown can be so good, but what we're given here is a weird transition episode between the old SmackDown and the new SmackDown. And I don't see why the new SmackDown wasn't put forefront right now as the best wrestling show on TV, which is what I fully believe it will be next week when it gets going, hopefully. JR kept saying that this might be the last time we get to see the Big Show on SmackDown. Why wasn't the last time we saw the Big Show the last time we saw him on SmackDown? This is ridiculous. I really thought the show was going to start with a Chris Jericho promo. How wrong could I be? He wasn't even on the show. Anyway, alright. I'll just run through what happened. Jeff Hardy versus The Big Show. This was a really bad match, mainly because Jeff Hardy didn't get to do anything during this match. That's right, Jeff Hardy, the SmackDown superstar, the man who remains on SmackDown, jobbed, like seriously, to The Big Show. Basically The Big Show just manhandles him, throws him about, slaps him, stands on him, headbutts him, clubs him, you know, all the Big Show's usual crap, right? And Jeff Hardy gets no offense. Whenever Jeff Hardy gets a bit of offense, looks like he's going to get a bit of momentum, Big Show just stops him. The match reaches its climax when Big Show makes a mistake, basically. He goes for the sort of Vader bomb, but turned into an elbow drop from the corner. And yeah, Jeff gets out of the way, as everyone does who he tries to do that move to. No idea why he still tries to do that move. And then Matt Hardy comes down the aisle, tries to interfere in the match. Jeff DDTs the Big Show, then goes off the ropes, jumps off the Big Show's back and does a front flip onto Matt, which is a really good spot, but that, you know, the reason it was good is because Jeff Hardy was doing something crazy. That's what we wanted the whole match, and we didn't get it. By this time, though, the Big Show's pretty much recovered. They go back in the ring. Jeff goes for Whisper of the Wind. I think Big Show was supposed to knockout punch him right then and there, but he didn't manage it. So instead, we wait until Jeff stood up and then knockout punch, and that was that. And Jeff Hardy jobs. And after the match, another Raw superstar gets to go over against Jeff Hardy because Matt Hardy beats him up, you know, after he's unconscious. So yeah, Raw really did well off of that match. Then we have the Cali kiss cam. I thought he was going to fight. I thought he was going to kiss. Yeah, how ridiculous. Fighting on a wrestling show. I thought he was going to kiss Santino on this SmackDown, but for some reason it's next SmackDown now. So what this was just the Great Khali preparing us for what we were going to see next week. Yeah, you're gonna kiss. Yeah, we know what that looks like. So he got some volunteer from the audience. Have you noticed how Ranjan Singh just seems to be humouring the Great Khali here for his own entertainment? Like, Ranjan Singh could clearly just go, Great Khali, I know you're a bit of an idiot, but that's actually Santino Marella in drag. But no, he just humours the Great Khali. Whatever. Anyway, then we had Maurice versus Gail Kim. This was an okay match. I don't think there's any match on this card that you'd say was any better than okay. Gail Kim is not really over with the stupid group of fans who will cheer Maria like she's a god, but you know, Gail Kim actually looked kind of disappointed when she's trying to get the crowd going, and you can actually hear her trying to get the crowd going because the crowd are not going at all. Yeah, match starts off, Gail Kim runs at Maurice and goes flying for the middle rope. Then we have Gail Kim does a cool front flip neck breaker from the top rope. The same move Shelton Benjamin did to MVP a couple of weeks ago in that US title match. The match starts to get a bit sloppy when Gail Kim goes for that crossbody she does, and Maurice is hopelessly out of position, so Gail Kim totally misses her, just has to slap her on the way down, and then the match ends eventually. I say eventually, it was like the match was 4 minutes long, how could I call it eventually, but Maurice goes for a DDT, and Gail Kim reverses it into that cool move where she gets her foot, puts it up against her head, then falls backwards, and Maurice is pinned again. The Divas champion is just pinned all the time. Then we had R-Truth versus John Morrison. Now obviously I was excited to see John Morrison, as he is a new SmackDown superstar, and he is an exciting new SmackDown superstar, a really good wrestler. But the bad news is he's fighting R-Truth, who's also a good wrestler, and I felt in the build up to Money in the Bank probably did have enough momentum to go in that match and not win that match, but put on the sort of performance Kofi Kingston put on, and then, you know, become like seriously respected, if you will. But now he's just a jobber, isn't he? He's just gonna job to everyone. I can't even think of anyone he can beat now, because, you know, we saw Dolph Ziggler later and he got put over, if you can believe that. So lots of kicks in this match as you expect. R-Truth does his usual sort of cartwheel, splits, kick type stuff, and he does a scissor kick. John Morrison does that cool springboard from the second rope and then sort of arch kick, don't know what you'd call that kick. Basically the ending comes, quite a short match again, otherwise this could have been a really good match, but it was actually just okay to good. Everything was okay to good. R-Truth goes for mounted punches in the corner, Hogan style. John Morrison wriggles out from underneath and does a powerbomb with one hand, basically, and then he hits the Moonlight Drive for the win. JR speculates that 2009 could be a massive year for John Morrison, and I really hope it is. I really hope by next WrestleMania people are considering John Morrison as a main eventer, and not thinking that's a weird thing at all, which could well happen. Then we had some Raw shenanigans, basically. We had Triple H and Randy Orton in a face-off. We were promised a face-off, but actually Orton doesn't want to come out. His music plays twice, and then he appears on the big screen. Basically says that Triple H prides himself in being smarter than his opponents, being the cerebral assassin, but he's let his emotions get the better of him, and he's alienated his teammates at Backlash, and as a result of their distaste for him, they're going to accidentally get counted out or disqualified. They're going to let their emotions get the better of him, and then Randy Orton will be champion. Throughout this, Triple H looks really happy. Like, I've never seen him try and look happy as a face. I've seen him as a heel, like, you know, laugh maliciously at people, but here he's really trying to smile, and his big stupid wrinkled face doesn't look like it's ever tried to smile before. And Randy Orton's getting angry at him because he's not biting, basically, and he's refusing to get annoyed at Orton. So he goes, "Oh, did you think it was funny when I RKO'd your wife? Do you think it was funny when I DDT'd your wife? Do you think it was funny when I kissed your wife? What do you think about when you kiss your wife? Is it me?" And yeah, did your kids enjoy the Easter basket I sent them? Well, yes, Randy, I thought it was a rather nice gesture.